This is War of the Suns, Chinese War of Resistance 1937 to 1945 from MMP Games. This is the situation at the end of turn 6, which is the 7th turn of the campaign game, because there is a turn 0. Now, the biggest thing about this is winter. The winter's pretty harsh across northern and western China, with snow and severe snow causing major problems. So there was quite an interesting political shift that the Yen clique actually went pro-Japan. Now the Japanese weren't actually able to take advantage of this, which may have been a bit of a mistake. They might have been able to capture this resource hex here if they'd actually been able to concentrate on it. But then again, fighting in severe snow, all your attack strengths are halved. The communists did take advantage of it and managed to actually push the small Yen forces in the area out of it. Other than that, there was not a lot of activity, but the two sides sort of manoeuvring around. There was a bit of nationalist activity in trying to get their units that belong to the army, the Chinese Kuomintang affiliated army, out of this area. They're not doing any good. The Fu area is effectively communist ally, or nationalist forces in that area pretty much tolerated nothing else. Little activities, a bit of guerrilla war going on here. Mainly the guerrillas are getting in position to actually sort of start fighting in the north. There's no real guerrilla activity at this moment, just units moving into place, getting behind the Japanese lines. Another thing, oddly enough, a communist unit appears in Shantung, which is a Japanese occupied area. The actual Han clique in this area is affiliated, but none of its units can be recruited because there's nowhere in that territory that they actually control. Well, quite a lot of fighting down south here where the weather was okay. The Japanese managed to gain two particularly strategic hexes in this area, mainly by using their concentrated strength, plus they have air forces and stuff that were able to lever these positions by force. The Japanese also made another set of landings in this area. They've not achieved anything in terms of capturing any major objectives or anything, but they've certainly expanded the area around here, and they're forcing the nationalists to consider pushing more forces into it. So they're really opening another front there that's going to cause a problem for the nationalists. So overall, Japanese forces, they're not going to get a full set of victory points this time, because they didn't actually gain any objective hexes. But then again, they didn't lose any either, so it's not a complete catastrophe. I think you get 3 victory points in this situation. The biggest problem that the Chinese faced was a strategic bombing raid that went against this particular city here, and it destroyed 3 factories, which was an absolute disaster for the nationalist forces in the area. So yet again, the domestic economic production of the Chinese is disintegrating at a rate of knots. But until places like Canton are actually cut off, the foreign economic point amount coming in is quite significant. One area that was important is Japanese diplomatic pressure managed to shut the Soviet border, and that stopped the fact, all right, the Soviets are actually supporting the nationalists, but it cut off the supply of RPs from the Russians at that particular moment. That was a major blow. So the winter slowed things down. There hasn't been a huge amount of activity. What activity there has been, the Japanese have had the best of it, but they haven't managed to actually generate any victory points, any significant victory points in this particular point. Now, I've not counted this town as being, even though they were pro-Japanese, there were no Japanese units in it, so technically you could argue that they'd gained that city and lost it, but I'm leaving it as a not affecting the victory points at this particular stage. Can't see anything much going on really. The air war has mainly been on the strategic bombing and the tactical bombing in this area, but it hasn't actually cost the nationalists anything in air power this time, because they lost quite a lot of air units last time, and air units are very difficult to expend, to replace due to the cost of foreign economic points, 4 points apiece. Now, I haven't actually completed the turn. There will be an expansion of the railroad. The railroad's actually reached Hanoi. So that's useful in the future because it gives a FEP, foreign economic point access thing, which is separate from Canton and Shanghai. Shanghai's already fallen. And the Burma Road is extended a little bit further. I haven't done that yet. There is a slight change geopolitically in the fact the Germans are supporting the Japanese. That doesn't seem to have any effect at this particular moment. So all in all, it's really hard to say what's going on. I think the Japanese are getting more and more bogged down in this, but they've got a lot of options to bring in more and more divisions. You can see how the Japanese army was totally bogged down in this war as time went on. We're now in the winter of 1939. I say winter of 1939, it's actually the 1938 to 39 winter. So there's the spring 39, summer and autumn 39. It's just the way it works. It's a bit weird. And that will do for this video.